Hey, what's up, folks? Hope you're doing good and settling in for another smooth trip through the universe. So I've been keeping an eye on this little patch that's popped up for No Man's Sky as update 6.18. And and even though it's not a massive game-shifting overhaul, it absolutely deserves some attention because it quietly cleans up a bunch of things that can really mess with your flow. And honestly, those are sometimes the updates that make the biggest difference when you're actually playing, building, recording, or just messing around on a new planet. What makes this patch interesting is how it lines up with all the recent stuff the game has been getting. Corvettes have become such a huge part of late game creativity and exploration. You can decorate them, expand them, turn them into mobile museums or miniature cities. But when you introduce something that complex, you're almost guaranteed to run into weird behavior. And a lot of people have been running into exactly that. Corvettes refusing to land properly, especially when players had installed fossil displays or decorative objects in certain configurations. Nothing kills the vibe faster than pulling off a cinematic flight toward your ship, only for it to glitch and refuse to land. This update steps in to calm all that down, so Corvettes behave like they're supposed to, making docking feel smooth again whether you're solo or playing with friends. And that ties right into the fossil display fixes. Players who love building out themed rooms or scientific wings in their ships noticed fossils going invisible, or pieces not rendering correctly when placed inside display cases. Imagine spending hours collecting a perfect ribcage fossil, only for it to vanish the moment you mount it. It's the kind of small glitch that hits way harder than it sounds, because decorating in this game is part of the fantasy. The patch aims to sort that out so displays stay visible, consistent, and actually reflect the work you put into them. It's a small fix from the outside, but for anyone who creates showrooms, natural history setups, or museum-style builds inside their Corvette, this is the kind of patch that actually matters on a day-to-day basis. There's also that quirky visual issue some folks encountered with bioluminescent creatures. Those glowing animals are supposed to be showstoppers, especially if you're filming a nighttime scene or exploring alien caves where the light effects completely reshape the mood. When something goes off with their glow patterns or visibility, it breaks immersion instantly. This update quietly tweaks those visuals so the glow behaves more predictably and the creatures pop the way they're meant to. Again, subtle, but when you notice it, you notice it. Another thing worth talking about is the PlayStation 5 fix tied to 8K output. It sounds super specific, but for players running their consoles into high-end displays, there was a black screen bug that could hit at random, and that sort of issue is brutal for anyone recording footage or streaming. Nothing wrecks a capture session faster than the screen cutting out when you're lining up a shot or traveling between systems. The patch addresses that, making high-resolution output more reliable and keeping the experience consistent for people pushing the upper end of the hardware. Beyond the named fixes, you've got the usual background work, the stability improvements and multiplayer consistency adjustments that don't get shouted about but do a lot of heavy lifting. No Man's Sky has become so intertwined with shared exploration that even the smallest multiplayer hiccup can ripple out into the whole experience. You don't want to lose connection when you and your friends are showing off builds or have interactions desync while you're demonstrating something on stream. A lot of the quiet tuning the devs do revolves around making sure those moments play out without awkward pauses or sudden breakdowns. It's not flashy, but it's the kind of polish that keeps the game feeling dependable. And when you step back and look at the pattern, it fits right how the team tends to roll out updates. Big content expansions drop, everyone gets excited, people build and experiment, and then the studio pushes out these focused, precision-level patches to clean up the loose threads. It shows they're still watching how the feature set interacts, especially when newer systems overlap with older ones in ways you might not expect. The goal isn't to introduce new mechanics here, it's to make sure the fresh stuff doesn't break the foundations players rely on. For anyone making videos or streaming, that's the real value of this update. You can confidently tour your Corvette without worrying about half your displays vanishing. You can plan landings for cinematic shots without the ship refusing to cooperate. You can explore glowing alien worlds without the visuals glitching out. And if you're on PS5 with an advanced display setup, you're not gambling on whether your footage is going to cut out. It's a quality of life patch in the purest sense, not one that smooths over the friction so the fun parts shine through again. So even though this update might look small on paper, it ends up having a pretty meaningful impact on how stable and polished the game feels moment to moment. Sometimes the best patches are the ones that make everything just work the way you thought it was supposed to in the first place. And that's exactly the kind of vibe this one brings along. Nothing loud, nothing dramatic, just a better, cleaner ride across the stars.